Hello, I am Radagast, at your service. Let me spell my name. R-A-D-A-G-A-S-T, with a T as in Thomas on the end. Okay. Tonight's topic is illusion, Maya, holograms, and dreams. What is reality? Probably good to start with where I feel some of the confusion will come in, especially some of the language that might be used, which is probably indicative of the state of mind. But let's say a phrase like all is a dream, or all is an illusion. And the first part for me where that sentence or that thought falls apart, at least in that phraseology with the keyword all being there, if it's used, is that all is part of absolutism. It's part of that binary good or evil thinking. And you might say, well, gee, it includes all, isn't that the field? Well, again, all is an absolute, which basically says everything in like all is a dream. Okay, especially with what a dream means, all is a dream starts to lose itself because it identifies everything with dream and not with reality. And there's this whole binary thing. And Maya, which is kind of the Indian term, where probably a big part of the thought of that all is illusion or Maya. Holograms and dreams. And dreams, when we think of dreams, we go to a place that is less real than reality. And other than we might be going back to where the code is being written for the hologram that we wake up to every day. So really, reality is a hologram, and I'm going to pull that apart so it can make sense, and then how illusion is, to me, another way of saying hologram, but it's about not understanding either what a hologram is, or more importantly, the mechanics of hologramism. Because that's the other thing, is there are synthetic and there are organic holograms, which are really the matrices. And back to dreams, we hold this idea that because we don't dream in our reality, that dreams and reality are at odds with each other. And again, here we have some polarity going. Rather than getting the connectivity, and that also there's also a dream that is more akin to the dream of a cosmic dream, which is when we do what we call daydreaming. When the idea of being quite conscious, and from that conscious state start to form the beginnings of ideas. And if you have enough time to get into your daydream, you might actually start getting the plans or some of the mechanics or some of the structure, the shape of this idea. You might even project it into a scenario of from dream to what the plan would look like, what that would be built out with, and you can do enormous things. And then if it was a really good daydream, you might actually go and build an industry, or you understand what I'm saying about from a daydream into a reality. So if we take this active kind of dreaming that we do in our waking state, and then also tie that in with the concept of sleep as we know it, isn't such a cosmic, quite the same relationship. So dreaming is how everything comes into reality, because it is in the dreams, in the pleroma, that become coherent thoughts that they then send out into streams, into an already coherent field, which would have been the arms of the galaxy, which were representing kind of the field of their dreaming of what their boundaries are. And in the placement of those fields, all the stuff that's already in another universe, because galaxies are sitting in another matrix that they're nodes of. Okay, once again, I don't want to get too cosmic on you, but it's also just we can keep the perspective, because once again, this perspective always comes to galactic intelligence at the center, and that unique to normal universe experience, part of that galactic center is in our planet with us, with the dream code. And that's I'll probably get back. So when, according to the mystics, what we'll call the Gnostic mystics, put those in possession of gnosis, who, anyway, according to them, this iteration of humanity, and I like to call it Anthropos, is version 10. And that was the version that was released from the cosmic center to land here, and of course upgrade from building up past the 9. But anyway, that code comes, and it comes to Earth, but it comes to Earth with, once again, all the pleroma created this code, but there was one part of the pleroma, because again, the pleroma has autonomy within it, and we're going to call her Sophia. This one had particular interest in the code, and and part of the revamping of this new code that was about to be sent out was she was part of the code writers. And so when this code gets sent out towards Earth, or into the general panspermia, but of course Earth is a target, it happens that one of the code engineers left and came and joined into the planet. So not only do we have the original code that was meant for the upgrade, we also have the code writer who's upgrading. And it's kind of part of that upgrade is knowing where to go for your code. And most of us who've left I'll call the Yahweh created sky god system to the more source or universe. Of course, again, the code was given out; it's there. But the more unique and more updated and created code is right here. And again, this is almost like like a little pleromic node. The Earth is. Other planets with life are not little pleromic nodes of their own. And so that gives us unique up to the, once again, we're not getting these codes go out. It's just general. Think of it like a code. If you're getting the late, Skype or something, you got, the last time you had was 9, and now you're supposed to get 10, but that's from them. But you happen to have the person who also writes the code, and go, oh, it gets up to 11. But first, the capacity to handle the code in the organic module or node has to be able to integrate it. And part of integrating, of course, has to be tapping into where that upgrade is coming from, rather than just the old let's hope it works code. And that's why Sophia joined us, because it was like, it was an upgrade from the past code, but apparently there been enough failure of that code to warrant some much concern that she joined us. And so getting that, there's the old code I consider, and then there's the new code. And the new code, but you have to plug in for the code. You have to download, hook in to that thing, because this is not like a one-time only download. This is where you kind of have those instantaneous downloads. Like as the system can handle it, you get more. But it's a request. It's not just comes in there. It's because because it's about boundaries. And a big part of holograms is the boundary field. And our personal boundaries is another topic that I almost had tonight instead of this. But I did want to finish this up. How long am I going here? Okay. So the whole, when we're struggling with, sometimes we even get, it does seem like an illusion, or and you can really kind of grasp that it's a hologram, and then what's the whole purpose of it? But when you tune into the whole creation, first of all, this is how reality is created. Reality is created through the dreaming of the universe that created us, and there is a universe that created nodes as part of whatever it is greater. I mean, this could get really wild if you want to go there, but we're the cosmic event. Okay, and that's where it's always important. Whatever's going out there, there's nothing more important going on cosmically than what is happening on Earth. And a big part of that happening, though, is the ability of the anthropos, humans, to know. First, it really helps to know where that comes from, and also the whole idea of sovereignty. This God-given sovereignty, it takes on a very different meaning when you realize that you are our specific being, however extra genetically used. That is all part of the dream. That is part of the organic matrix of the dream. Now, one way of thinking of the pleroma is like a cell tower, okay, that you can get a signal from. But they now have a cell tower through Gaia, Sophia, as an aeonic node here. So this is like the place, if you're in a cafe and you were to get that signal, this signal, you'd be hooking up really quickly. And so what's interesting is the very word matrix is mother. The whole coding, the whole creating of the sphere for us to do this is an outgrowth of that constant maintenance of the code of the hologram. Just like when you think of Star Trek and they run a program, okay? In this case, it's a digital program, and within a very, if you've ever seen those walls, there's not really a lot of space there, and then once it projects, it creates the effects of space, and it's quite real. If you ever watched Star Trek, it is real. And of course, they have all kinds of safeties about how rough it could get. They usually have a lethal filter so nobody can die. So it's interesting where you see where in our organic reality, obviously the lethal filter is not off. And so getting back to a cell tower. Now, one of the things, if you're watching me, you've probably heard certain things about, let's say, the CIA. Or any alphabet. I don't want to pick on you, CIA. Okay? But different people who have interest or different things, and we've all heard about psycho beaming and things like that. And then we're told what they're doing is they're fixing these things onto nearby cell towers to influence a certain area. And so what we have on Earth here is that Gaia's cell tower has lots of attachments on it. From people who think they have the right to pry or influence things. And so just like you would in the real world, we would have certain psychotronic devices trying to put voices, the voice of God device, and this, I mean, and all those kind of, think of all those on our cell tower in our 3D reality, and then realize there's an analog in the actual, call it the fourth and multi-dimensional, the greater reality, that is creating the fields. And so within our generating field cell tower, we also have agencies that have planted devices that have created the other thing that they call the matrix, or the parasitic vine work that threads its way, and once it got enough of its own structure, now it's starting to connect in ways that you can actually feel it closing in. All right, there's not. I mean, you can just feel. And of course, a big part of all of that is that the projection in the mind, and then when you realize what your true reality is in your day, is largely what you're dreaming in your head. And part of that, I mean, to just sometimes, even when we're suffering our most and we're like in great emotional pain, very often for many of us, there are many of us who live very comfortable lives. We're overfed. We sleep in our own beds in warm houses, with a toilet very nearby, and this is I wonder where I was going with that, but this is special, and this is dreaming our reality. Oh boy, where did I go with that? I thought I was going to have struggle because I'm trying to take some really wild stuff and turn it back into reality. Oh, you feel the oppression. So anyway, the idea of creating reality once again through programming, where you could be in the most comfortable. I've been here. I'm not speaking about other people, and that's how one of the ways I pulled myself out one time, going into a really, really seriously dark place and just like experiencing some kind of hell in a very comfortable bed. Didn't need to get up to go for work. I might have gone through this once before. I mean, I just saw the utter irony of me going to where I took myself to, and the reality of things. Kind of like when I hear people being bored of food, and for me, I got over that a long time ago when I realized that the way I deal with 14 to 17,000 people dying every day of starvation is I may not be able to feed them, but I can certainly be grateful enough of my food to never be bored with food. Knowing that if I could be bored with food, it's because that's how well fed I am, that I could actually like, oh yeah, it's perfectly fine, but we have something else. And again, and knowing that have that attitude, even that is not to be condemnatory, otherwise to go, oh man, listen to me. I am blessed, man. I am so blessed that I could actually be bored with good food. So if you can dig the blessing of being bored with food, that's really kind of okay. And by knowing your blessing, you're kind of honoring those who have died for lack of food by knowing, oh man, am I spoiled. Life is good. And you can, you just, and again, to me, that's how I deal with misery, by acknowledging my own, the sweetness of my own life, knowing their misery, but escaping it by, again, taking what stance I can, and part of it is honoring the food that I have to eat. Back to dreams. So reality is a dream. So anyway, we have this, the reality we're experiencing isn't the reality we should be experiencing, and that's part of why the signal that would have us more upgraded and getting towards, once again, realizing our godhood, and not realizing it as a concept, realizing it as how you see the world, and being able to see what is organic. And our matrix is organic. It's coming from a program that's running organically. Okay? It's the same concept as the synthetic hologram, except it's organic. And it's coming out of the mind of Sophia. But again, when you think of the cell tower as kind of the broadcast of the signal, there are not good things that have been set up energetically. Because all of this is energetic. There isn't a real cell tower, but the analog works when you realize what they're doing with some of our cell towers. And that creates that is the beginning of the matrix reality. And then through TV, creates more of the matrix reality, because those of us who are on the web and can read a wide variety of what's going on in the world, and then you talk to somebody who's basically watching mainstream news, and you will hit a reality membrane. You will hit a boundary of theirs, and that boundary is their reality boundary. when you come in with, you know, who did 9/11 and stuff, and they're coming from the MSM creation of their matrix reality, and the reason why we reach such resistance is there is an actual boundary field created by a programming that creates a holographic field, and within their reality what you're saying is utter nonsense to them. And so with that, and to me, what the most important part of this is, when we think life is just a dream and all of this is just an illusion, they're hiding the fact that reality is a dream. That's how it works. There's no other way for reality to happen. Okay, there is no other reality that isn't a dream. It works from a dream, but it's not like our dreams. It's like that daydream that continues and continues and continues. And again, and it's an organic field creation that then, where the stuff of matter accrues to and becomes a long-standing reality, 3D reality, but it's supported by the hologram of the Aeon Sophia in the creation, but it's messed with by other contributions. And then, of course, those contributions have their analog on the planet. So I think I can wrap it up there. It's just, stop. If you've been struggling with reality, illusion, Maya, please understand that reality is created by God, and our, you know, gods and God, because we have a local one. And they dream reality because they create the fields that create what we call reality, but it's a hologram, just like you see it in Star Trek. Okay, and it doesn't make it any less real, because that's what reality is. But it's not like you can just dissolve it, because, well, first of all, there's a certain cosmic timing too, but it's real. The cosmic dreams are an and so stop struggling with that and start participating in the dream. Start realizing that this is an organic dream, and it is responsive. I mean, there's the set hologram, but again, even like on Star Trek, there are characters. You're meant to interact with this hologram to have experiences, and when you get in on that, and you can start to have fun, and then you realize that the biggest reason you're not having lots of fun is because other people haven't tuned in into what we are, what is reality. That reality is in fact is a dream that involves us, that we're co-dreaming in. And just stop getting confused and start planning, start daydreaming and living the life in the dream, and then you realize that you just need a few more dreamers and things start getting really good. All right, that's my conclusion. Before all else, I see the God within you.